So today we're going to review these Specialiste replacement front chain rings. So this is my Kona Sutra. It has a 2x drive chain, GRX 400 rear derailleur and a GRX 400 front derailleur. Now I'm trying to set this bike up to give it lower climbing gears because it's fine as it is now, but when you've got this bike loaded down, the granny gear isn't low enough, not for me at least. So I experimented, and there's a video with a link below with a derailleur extender so I can put a 42 tooth rear cassette on here. I did it and it worked, but it wasn't great and I wasn't happy with it. So I've decided to go with front chain rings and adjust those. These took a while to find. I had to do quite a bit of research, but we're going to see how these fit on. So one of the problems I encountered, this rear derailleur is really not designed to accommodate a rear cog on the cassette larger than 36 teeth. I've just put this 38 tooth cassette on, which is a microshift one. I know that that works because you can buy this bike with this rear cassette in. Mine came with a Sunrace one, and this one is the 38 tooth. So it gives me a couple of extra teeth on the rear. On the front, it comes with a 46 and a 30 tooth. So yesterday I did a bit of preparation. I took out the crankset. I stripped out the front chain rings. And I replaced the bottom bracket. That was a bit grindy and nasty. And the idea is to replace the 46 and the 30 tooth front chain rings with a 44 and a 28. Now those ratios are due to the fact that the largest difference between the front chain rings for this derailleur is 16 teeth. So I wanted to make sure that nothing can go wrong and it's all going to work fine. I've done some research and apparently it is fine. These are designed for GRX cranksets, and my crankset is a pro wheel one, but the hole spacing on these is identical. So all being well, that'll give me an extra 2 teeth on the cog at the rear and 2 fewer teeth on each chainring at the front. So that should make quite a difference to the lowest gear, the climbing gear. I'm going to lose a bit on the top end, but I can afford to lose that. I don't ride fast anyway. I think the first thing to do is to work out what the gear inches are and see if that makes any difference. The aim really for touring bikes is about 20, I think. Let's see, I found this gear inch calculator. We'll do a comparison. So it's only the small one I'm interested in for the front. So 28. 28 compared to the existing one, which is 30. And then just for the rear, because we're just doing climbing gears, we're going to do 36 and 38. Choose wheel size 700C. So the existing setup was a 30, 36, 22.3 gear inches, and I'm going down to a 28, 38, which is 19.7. That makes a big difference. 19.7 is really good. I think it's probably not going to be far off what I was when I had this with 42. I can actually add that in as well. 30, 42, 19.1. So the lowest I've ever had on here is 19.1, and it never shifted right. That was with the 11 to 42 rear cassette and the standard front chain rings. If this works out, this is going to be perfect. Right, let's get these open then. Try and do them without ripping anything, just in case I have to go back. So let's check the hole spacing. Yeah, hole spacing is definitely right. I can see the thickness here is different, but there's recesses on these where there isn't on this. So I've just got to assume that they do fit. I'm still not sure about the spacing, but I think the easiest thing to do is to put them on and then see. It does say that it is compatible with this, or some websites did anyway. Get that to line up like that. Incidentally, if you are following in my footsteps and doing this, make note that these bolts are not the same length. The inner ring are slightly shorter. I think there's going to be some adjustment needed with the high and low screw on the front derailleur. I'm just hoping that it's going to work at all, really. I'm not 100%. I want this gearing, so in my mind, I was thinking if it didn't work and it wasn't compatible, I'd just buy some GRX crank arms. I know it seems to just throwing money away all the time, but I really need that climbing gear. And I could have bought a new crank set, but the GRX one is still 4630, and the smallest I could find was a microshift one, which was a 4529, and it's like one tooth really, and it's over 100 quid. So even if I do find on eBay a GRX, some GRX crank arms, this is going to be cheaper than it was going to be to buy the microshift setup. So I'm justifying making an error if I have. So we have this spacer. I don't know if this is necessary, but it can't hurt to put some grease on that. I just put grease on everything these days. This is just a preload adjuster. It just takes the slack out of this crank arm. There, that's good. Now I can do these up. You've got to do them evenly. Right, so it says 10 to 12. So I'm going to do 11. There we go. Right. I think that might be okay. Maybe one more link could be good, but I'm going to go with it and see what it does. So it's all back together. As I thought, the front derailleur is going to need some adjustment, probably the height and the limit screws. Also, I noticed it was a bit twisted, so I'm just going to plow on with that. I'm not going to film it because it's my worst job, and you don't want to hear what comes out of my mouth when I'm doing it. So I'll get back to you once it's done. I spent ages on the front derailleur, and then I realised that this chain wheel, the large one, was waving as it was going round. And stupidly, I didn't check the front. I don't know if you can see these indentations? They don't line up. So as the crank goes round, this is doing this business, waving around. Which means I need to order the GRX crank set, and I found one on eBay for about £40. It's new, no chain rings. I kind of knew this might happen. It was an experiment. So I'm not bothered about it. I'm not bothered. I am a little bit, but not really. So we're back. Turned up. £40 for the crank arms. I don't think that's too bad. So I'm going to build these up. With these, I won't show that. I'm going to build it up and get it back on the bike, and we'll see if we can get it finished today. You going through? Am I doing something stupid here? Put the preload cap in. There we are. Right, that all looks really good. Just going to adjust the derailleur again now, so again, I won't film that. Hopefully, the next time I see you, this will be working and shifting well. So, all done. Took a little while to get it dialed in, and it still needs a little bit of adjustment, but I'll do that when I'm out on a proper test ride. I've learned that to set this properly, you need to get it to bed in and all that sort of stuff. I'm very pleased with it. It shifts smoothly, much more smoothly than it did with the large cassette and the old chain rings. So I'm pleased I went down this route. Now, is it worth it? I think it worked out because I had to buy the crank arms and it was about 65, I think, for the 2 chain rings. So £105, I think it's worth it. It's worth it for me. It's just an extra 2 or 2 fewer teeth on the front. But this makes this bike into a much more usable bikepacking bike for me. I'll be able to get up the hills without having a cardiac arrest. Definitely worth it for that, I think. So yeah, the whole process pretty straightforward. I mean, obviously I made some errors, but you wouldn't need to if you've already got a GRX setup. Couldn't be simpler. I think the rings are expensive, but I've looked everywhere and this is the only solution I could find. They're expensive, but they're nicely made. You can see that. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope this was useful. If it was, please give it a thumbs up. And I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.